Hello fellow gamers, my name is Deathboy and today I present the Akkan Gate 3 guide. If you have enjoyed this video, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. For Gate 3, you want to bring the following battle items: Dark Grenade, Time Stop, and Sacred Charm or Sacred Bomb. If you feel like you do not need Time Stop, you can swap it out with Atropine for additional damage. At least one member in a raid, usually the member doing a Lantern Janitor role, which I will talk about later, should bring Corrosive Bomb just in case for the last mechanic. Before you enter the raid, you need to assign positions for the 140 mechanic. The positions are 1, 5, 6, 7, 11, and 12 o'clock. The raid also needs to decide which party is going to take care of the purple laser for the 165 mech. High Swift classes are ideal for the purple laser. Lastly, the raid needs to decide who's going to perform the lantern role throughout the fight. Usually, the member with some swiftness stat should be doing this, but it does not really matter. Ideally, the member with high DPS should not be performing this role. Just like in Gate 2, Gate 3 also has a plague meter that you must manage. The logic of how this meter works in Gate 2 also applies to Gate 3. The only real difference is that when a member is stunned due to full meter, the boss tends to teleport behind that player, attempting to kill them with the instant death attack. This is why Sacred Charm or Sacred Bomb is highly recommended. When the fight starts, the boss will attempt to leap towards 6 o'clock. The support should use a damage reduction ability and tank this attack, as the follow-up attack will be another slam at that same position, which allows the DPS to do some extra damage. The first major mechanic happens at 200 HP lines or below. The boss will move to the middle and 4 towers will spawn at the X3+1 positions. All members should go to their X3+1 position. In a moment, the boss will show a stagger bar. The goal is to finish this stagger check. A laser will spawn from each tower that should be soaked by one of the members at that position. A few seconds after the stagger bar appears, you will see red line telegraphs that spawn randomly on the map. It is extremely important that you move out of the way and do not get hit. This is your first priority. If you do get hit, you will die. These red lines will show up periodically throughout the mechanic. Usually after you see the red line telegraphs appear twice throughout the mechanic, the stagger check should be complete. The members at each position need to rotate with soaking the laser. When you soak the laser, you will get a debuff that increases the amount of damage you take and will stack, so you should not soak this for too long. The boss will periodically do a map-wide AoE attack, so if you have high stacks of this laser debuff, it could do a ton of damage. After 7 or so stacks, you should have the other member at your position soak the laser instead. The member who is soaking the laser can still stagger the boss if that member has long-range skills. The support should use Awakening after the first wave of red line telegraphs go away, and shield periodically. If one of the lasers are not soaked and hit the boss will gain a shield which heavily reduces the amount of stagger you deal to the boss. The difference in hard mode is that large guillotines will spawn during this mechanic, noted by a large arrow telegraph. When you complete the mechanic, the member who is going to do lantern should pick up the lantern that's at the bottom of the map. It will bring the member in a separate dimension. In this dimension, the member needs to use their first skill on their action bar to clean up green puddles around the map. This will allow the members on the outside to freely move and not have to worry about the green puddles. Stepping in the green puddle will increase your meter. In normal mode, the lantern job is fairly easy and the entire map can be cleansed without issue. Rotate around the outer circle and clean up green puddles when you see them. You will also see ghosts in this dimension that will follow you and try to attack you. Your meter will fill up over time while inside. As established before, when the meter is full, you will be stunned for a few seconds, which means the ghost will attack you, which may lead to your death. When your meter is almost filled up, drop the lantern, then quickly pick it back up. This will prevent the stun effect and allow you to proceed with cleaning the map. In hard mode, the lantern job is more difficult. Not only do you have to worry about the ghost, but there's also a witch that will spawn on a map that will follow you and try to fear you or knock you back when it gets close. Use the second ability on your action bar when the witch gets close so that you can petrify it. However, you cannot kill this witch, so you need to consistently petrify the witch while also cleaning up the green puddles. Also, in hard mode, it is impossible to clean the entire map. So the goal of hard mode lantern is to pay attention to the minimap, follow your fellow members, and clean up the green puddles in that vicinity. The next major mechanic happens at 165 HP lines or below. The boss will move to the right side of the map. If the Anana side rail is up, it should be used in front of the boss. A tower will spawn at 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 9 o'clock. The tower from 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock will fire an orange laser that should be soaked so that it does not hit the boss. A green laser will come from the boss that should also be soaked. This totals 3 members that are soaking 2 orange lasers and 1 green laser. On the opposite end of the map, the 9 o'clock tower will spawn a purple laser that should be picked up by a member with the goal of attaching it to the boss by walking behind him. However, you cannot hold on to this purple laser forever, as you will get a stacking debuff which can be shown above your head. When you are at 2 stacks, someone else needs to pick up the purple laser coming from your character and continue to move towards the boss. If you get 3 stacks while holding the purple laser, you'll be brought back to the beginning, which can result in a wipe due to running out of time. Once the purple laser is attached to the boss, proceed with finishing the stagger check. If the Anana side rail is not up when the mechanic starts, the support should cast Awakening, Damage Reduction, and Shields. This is because when you soak the green or orange laser, it will give you a stacking debuff that increases the damage you take, and the laser itself also deals damage. In the Anana circle, you don't have to worry about this, but if Anana is not up due to the raid having high DPS, this is where support care will be important. The moment Anana is up, it should be used. This will also help whoever is doing Lantern, as it will decrease their meter, allowing that member to stay in longer. The Lantern member does not need to drop the Lantern to move to the outside in order to reap the benefits of the Anana circle, as the effect also occurs on the inside. The next major mechanic happens at 140 HP lines or below. You need to go to your assigned position that was decided before the raid started. 4 statues will spawn on the outside and 2 on the inside. The member with the Lantern needs to use the laser skill on the action bar to stagger both statues so that it will appear on the outside. When this happens, everyone's camera will be zoomed out. This should be done as soon as possible because this mechanic is time-based. Running out of time will result in a wipe. On the outside, every statue will also need to be staggered. Once you complete the stagger check, a laser will come out from the statue. Pressing G on the statue will rotate the laser. The goal for this mechanic is to rotate the lasers in such a way that it forms a shape, hexagon or star. Knowing which shape to make with the lasers depends on what telegraph appears when the 1 o'clock statue is staggered. This means that the 1 o'clock statue should be staggered as soon as possible. The member who is not assigned a spot should go to the 1 o'clock statue and help with stagger. After you stagger the 1 o'clock statue, it will show a red line telegraph. If the red line telegraph points diagonally or at an X position, it is a hexagon that must be formed. If the telegraph is horizontal or vertical, a star must be formed. Type out the shape immediately so that members know where to point the laser. You will notice that the laser is black when you're rotating it. If the black laser hits you, it will deal massive damage. Be sure to dodge this as best as you can. I'm showing a picture on screen now that shows you where to point the laser depending on if it's hexagon or star. Initially, when the outside statues spawn, an inside save for outside save telegraph will occur. It is best to dodge this before you stagger the statue or use a push immune skill. Sometimes, 2 statues next to each other will both be outside save telegraphs that overlap each other. This is especially important for the 1 o'clock statue, where 12 o'clock and 1 o'clock can overlap with outside save telegraphs. If this occurs at 1 o'clock, go help 5 o'clock with stagger, then move back to 1 o'clock and stagger. The only difference in hard mode is that guillotines will spawn at the top, middle, or bottom side of the map that are delayed. An initial square telegraph will spawn on the edge, then a large arrow telegraph that is delayed. Be sure to stay out of them both, otherwise you will immediately die. At 125 HP lines or below, the next phase will occur. The boss has enhanced patterns and new patterns for the rest of the fight. In addition, if anyone dies in this gate, the member will respawn as a zombie attempting to kill other members. These zombies should be dealt with as soon as possible. No more mechanics will occur until 32 HP lines, but there are special attacks he will do until 32 HP lines. Let's discuss them now. Throughout this phase, the boss will inflict a curse on random members. There are 4 different kinds of curses that we will discuss. Green Curse. 4 random members will have a tether attached to another member, and every few seconds a green puddle will drop beneath their feet, for a total of 3 green puddles. These members should stick close to their partner and drop puddles away from the boss. Members that do not have a tether should not stand in between the tether, as it will increase meter. Black Curse. 3 random members will have a black tether attached to each other and should stay close and get behind the boss. The boss may be aggroed on a member that has the black tether, but even if this happens, you need to keep rotating behind the boss. In a moment, he will fire a green laser in front of him that can increase meter and knock you back if you are standing in front of him. If a member with the black tether gets knocked back far enough, it can break the tether. If the tether does break, everyone who had the tether will die. Anyone that does not have the black tether should not stand in the tether, as it does massive damage which can kill you. Blue Curse. 2 random members will have a blue tether attached to each other. These members need to stand close to each other. In a moment, those members will lose control of their character and walk in opposite directions. If both members are too far away before losing control of their character, it can result in those 2 members getting mind controlled. Red Curse. 2 random members will have a red tether attached to each other. These members need to stand far away from each other. If both members are too close before losing control of their character, it can result in those 2 members getting mind controlled. Green Slime. There are 2 variations of this attack. The basic version is when the boss stands still with the green aura around him, with tentacles spawning on the map, in addition to 1 green slime. The green aura around the boss will apply a debuff that does massive damage if you get multiple stacks, so be sure to stand outside of it. Your goal is to find the green slime, which can be shown on the minimap, and kill it as soon as possible. Then destroy the tentacles. The other version of this attack is when the boss moves to the middle and faces the top side of the map. 3 map-wide AoE attacks will occur in a specific pattern that give massive meter if you were hit. After the 3 attacks, the slime and tentacles will spawn on the map that should be dealt with. The AoE attack will always start off as a plus-shaped telegraph. The safe spot for the plus-shaped telegraph depends on where the back attack indicator is facing. If it is facing 6 o'clock, the safe spot will be 5 or 7 o'clock. If the back attack indicator is facing 5 or 7 o'clock, the safe spot is 6 o'clock. Then the boss will follow up with the hashtag telegraph. The safe spot for the hashtag telegraph is the near edge of the previous plus-shaped telegraph. The last attack is a square-shaped telegraph. The safe spot for this square-shaped telegraph is near the middle where the boss is standing. Green and white skulls. The boss will move to the middle of the map and face south side. If this happens, everyone should gather at the edge of 6 o'clock. Green skulls will spawn momentarily that will try to hit you. Try your best to dodge. White skulls will also come from the boss that will eventually disappear as it gets closer to the edge of 6 o'clock. Throughout this phase, you should get in the habit of paying attention to the minimap for one of his special attacks. If the boss teleports to the far end of 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, or 9 o'clock, this means everyone must gather at the opposite side. A large wave attack will occur that can be avoided by standing at the opposite side. Then the boss will teleport behind a random player and try to instantly kill anyone standing in front of him, similar to Gate 2. Get behind the boss to avoid death. Bugs will also spawn that should be dealt with, but focus on getting behind the boss first so that you do not die. Green Laser. The boss will often teleport and fire a green laser, which is a great opportunity for additional damage. If you see the boss vanish and appear in a different location, there is a high chance he's going to fire a green laser. So it is best to stay behind the boss or on his side. The last major mechanic occurs at 32 HP lines or below. The boss will move to the middle and smash the ground multiple times. Stay behind the boss to avoid getting hit by a slam attack. Then a cutscene will occur momentarily. Majority of the map will be destroyed, similar to the last phase of Vault in Gate 2. Mobs will continuously spawn in, and the boss will periodically fire a green laser attempting to knock members off the map. There are 3 versions of this laser that he will fire, all of which can be avoided by standing behind him. He can fire a laser from side to side, directly in front of him, or a laser that starts off in front of him with him rotating the laser. Always stay behind the boss and keep dealing damage. If the wave side reel is up when the boss is at 1 to 15 HP lines, it should be used. If you use the wave side reel, stand on the right side of the map to avoid getting hit by the large laser that wave will spawn. Getting hit by this laser can kill you. If the wave Sadrio is not up, and the boss hits 0 HP lines, an additional mechanic will occur, and the Anana Sadrio should be used right when the cutscene is finished. The boss will spawn green telegraphs that will knock players back if you are hit, but the Anana Circle can save you from being knocked off. In this phase, you need to deal enough weak point to end the fight, similar to Gate 2. This is where Corrosive Bomb comes in handy. Throw Corrosive Bomb right when the camera zooms out, and every member should focus on using as many weak point skills as possible to end the fight. Thyrane can be used instead of Anana, but that can result in a lot of players falling to their death. Most parties use Anana instead. In hard mode, the fight is not yet finished. Once you finish the phase with Wei, or with Anana and weak point, an additional phase will start. In this hard mode phase, you can get knocked off into the water similar to Gate 1. At the start of this phase, the boss will always spawn a black fog, which will increase your meter if you stand in it, so you should stand at the far end of the map opposite of where the boss is located. After the fog has gone away, two things will happen. Tentacles will spawn in the middle, and one random member will get a worm debuff. This will be shown under your feet and also on your debuff bar. If you get the worm debuff, you need to stand at the corner of the map and wait for the debuff to expire, then move out. A worm will spawn wherever you were standing. Do not stand inside this worm, as it is needed later on around the 235 mechanic. Killing the tentacles will give you a buff that increases your stagger. After doing enough stagger to the boss, his right hand will show a weak point icon. Corrosive Bomb should be used in addition to weak point skills. This will destroy the armor on his right hand. When this happens, the boss will have a debuff, allowing every member to deal more damage throughout the entire fight. This can occur up to 3 times in total, resulting in 200% increased damage. It will start off with his right hand that has to be destroyed, then his left hand, then his armor in the middle. There are various attacks he will do during this phase, but the safe spot for almost all attacks is going to be the hand that is touching the ground. You will also see yellow telegraphs that appear on the map. This will spawn a wave of water that is a bit delayed. Move out of the yellow telegraph, otherwise you will take damage and may get knocked outside the map. Sometimes the boss will try to change position and fire a green laser. When he does change position, stand close to the hand that is grabbing the pillar to avoid damage. The only major mechanic in this phase are at 235, 200, and 135 HP lines. At 235 and 135, the boss will raise up his hands and try to smash the ground after a few moments. When the boss raises up both of his hands to trigger this attack, everyone needs to gather close to the worm, then move inside. This will save you from the attack. If you do not get inside the worm in time, you will die from the attack. If the boss is close to 235 or 135 and there is no worm on the map, everyone should stop DPS and wait for the black fog to appear so that a member can get the worm debuff and drop the worm at the edge of the map. If someone goes into the worm early on before 235 or 135, someone should destroy that worm as soon as possible. Without this worm for 235 or 135, you will die by the Akkan smash. You can survive this smash by getting knocked back into the water via the yellow telegraph wave, but this is not reliable if you ask me. At 200 HP lines, the boss will start flipping the stage over to one side and attempt to make everyone fall into the water. Be on the move and avoid the green puddles. The only 2 attacks that Akkan will perform is a scratch near the middle and a green laser that can knock you into the water. If the boss performs a scratch, he will always follow up with the laser. After a few moments, he will flip the stage to the other side and the same attacks will occur. If anyone in the raid is dead, they will respawn throughout this phase as a zombie and must be killed, otherwise it could be detrimental. If the Wei Sadrio is up before the boss is dead, use it around 50 HP lines. And that will conclude my guide for Akkan Gate 3. Considering the size of this video, I decided not to cover the notable attacks outside of the important awakened patterns at 125 or below. However, you can check out the Mobalytics written guide in the description below that describes the notable attacks for Gate 3. If you have enjoyed this video, please be sure to give it a like for the algorithm gods and subscribe to my YouTube channel. With all of that being said, I hope you have a wonderful time raiding in Lost Ark. Peace.